الله النور بسم الله النور بسم الله النور بسم الله النور بسم الله نور النور بسم الله النور.
All right, folks, buckle up. We're about to take a deep dive into a real treasure, the book on virtue of knowledge from Al-Kafi.
That's right.
But before we jump in, I want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
Al-Kafi is, a collection of Hadith.
It is.
Which, for those who might not know,
Right.
it means we're dealing with the sayings and teachings of, like, Prophet Muhammad and the Imams.
Exactly. Direct access to their wisdom.
It's pretty incredible when you think about it.
Yeah.
Passing down through, like, generations.
Mm-hmm.
And today we're going to be exploring a specific section, taking us from H 35, Chapter 1, Hadith 1.
Okay.
All the way to H 94, Chapter 10, Hadith 4.
And even for someone like me who's spent years, with these texts,
Yeah.
the depth of insight it never ceases to amaze me.
Oh, I bet.
It's like every time you read it, you uncover something new.
I'm already hooked. And we're just getting started.
Right.
Right off the bat, H 35, Chapter 1, Hadith 1 kind of hits us with this really powerful statement from the Prophet himself. He says, seeking knowledge is obligatory for every Muslim,
Mm-hmm.
not just a good idea, like a must-do.
Yeah, like a duty.
What's your take on that? Did that strike you as a little, I don't know, tense?
Intense, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But also, I find it really motivating. Imagine a faith where learning is considered a fundamental duty.
It's a high bar.
It is. It really is.
Makes you think about like how we approach learning today.
Absolutely.
Is browsing social media really fulfilling that obligation? I don't know.
That's such a good question. And I think it's one that these texts, really push us to consider.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about the quantity of knowledge, right?
Right.
It's about like the quality, the intention behind it, the impact it has.
The impact.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at H 44, Chapter 2, Hadith 1.
All right.
In this one, the Prophet encounters a man who's renowned for his knowledge of like genealogy and history.
Impressive stuff.
But the Prophet points out that true knowledge, real knowledge, encompasses those divinely guided principles.
It goes beyond just worldly facts.
I'm seeing a theme here.
Oh, absolutely.
That's about like connecting the dots between what we know and how we live.
Exactly. It's about seeking knowledge that guides us, that helps us understand our purpose, that deepens our connection to the divine.
Okay, I'm with you. So how does this next Hadith fit in?
Okay.
H 45, Chapter 2, Hadith 2,
Mm-hmm.
states that scholars are the heirs of the prophets, inheriting like knowledge, not material wealth.
Now, this is a game changer.
Oh.
It really elevates the role of scholars to something special.
Good.
They're not just teachers,
Yeah.
They're entrusted with carrying the legacy of the prophets themselves
Wow.
and the responsibility that comes with that.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
To preserve that knowledge, transmit it accurately and ethically,
Mm.
guarding against those exaggerations, those interpretations of, people who are ignorant.
Which the Hadith warns us about.
Exactly.
So it's like they're holding a sacred trust,
They are.
passing down a flame that needs to be, kept burning bright.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
That's a lot of pressure.
It is.
It makes you realize that like pursuing knowledge is not a solitary thing.
It's not.
It's a chain,
It's like lineage
Yeah.
stretching back through generations.
Wow.
We're all part of that chain.
Whether we're the teachers, the students, or just, I don't know, lovers of knowledge.
Absolutely.
And speaking of students,
Right.
H 40, Chapter 1, Hadith 6 really lays out what makes a true seeker.
Okay.
Imam Ali emphasizes the need for fiqh,
Mm-hmm.
that deep understanding of religion,
Right.
and he compares it to the understanding of the Bedouins.
Interesting comparison.
So for those of us who, might not know much about Bedouin culture,
Yeah.
what's the significance of that?
Good point. A little context might help here.
Yeah.
Bedouins, they were known for their nomadic lifestyle, often living in, harsh environments. They had a strong sense of community, amazing survival skills, but sometimes their understanding of religious principles was seen as like lacking depth.
I see.
So Imam Ali is like stressing the importance of going beyond that surface level,
Gotcha.
really delving into those complexities of faith.
Applying it.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. And then we have Imam Jafar al-Sadiq in H 42, Chapter 1, Hadith 8.
Mm-hmm.
He expresses this really, fierce desire
He does.
to impart this understanding to his followers,
Right.
even suggesting that, forceful measures might be necessary.
Wow.
It's intense.
Yeah.
Shows how seriously they took this responsibility
Absolutely.
of seeking and sharing knowledge.
It wasn't a game to them.
What about the rewards? We're putting in all this effort. There's got to be some payoff.
No, there's payoff, all right.
Okay, tell me more.
H57, Chapter 4, Hadith 1 describes it beautifully.
I'm listening.
Imagine Allah guiding you to paradise.
Okay.
Angels spreading their wings for you. Even all of creation asking forgiveness on your behalf.
Okay, now you're talking.
Right.
That's serious motivation.
It is.
But is it just about the afterlife? Are there rewards in this world too?
That's what I find so fascinating. The rewards are both internal and external.
Okay.
Immediate and long-lasting.
I like that.
H58, Chapter 4, Hadith 2, highlights this unique reward system for both teachers and students of knowledge.
It's not a one-way street.
Exactly. It's not just about individual gain.
Right.
It's about that collective elevation
I like that.
that comes from sharing knowledge.
So everyone wins.
Exactly.
The teacher gets rewarded for sharing, the student for seeking.
And then H59, Chapter 4, Hadith 3 takes it even further.
Okay, what does it say?
It talks about this ripple effect of teaching something good,
Right.
extending even beyond our lifetime.
So it's like planting a seed
It is
that grows into a whole forest.
a forest of knowledge.
But with so much information out there, how do we even know where to start? How do we find those reliable sources,
That's the question.
those true scholars who are, guiding us on the right path?
Well, H53, Chapter 3, Hadith 1 paints a pretty clear picture.
Okay, what's the picture?
After the Prophet, 3 types of people emerged.
Okay.
You have the divinely guided scholar.
Okay.
Then there's the ignorant who, claim knowledge.
Right. Those who pretend.
And then those who learn from a scholar for the sake of Allah.
So right away, we need to be careful,
Absolutely.
discerning about who we choose to learn from.
It's like navigating a minefield out there.
It really is.
You have to be able to distinguish, between genuine knowledge and those who are, peddling falsehoods.
Or seeking, personal gain.
Exactly.
It's not just about avoiding the bad apples.
Right.
It's about actively seeking out those who, embody that true spirit of scholarship.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So we're not just passively taking in information. We're actively engaging,
We are.
being critical thinkers, making conscious choices
Oh.
about where we get our knowledge from.
It's a quest.
It really is.
Yeah.
A quest for those hidden gems of wisdom.
And it's a quest worth taking.
It is, because the treasures we find along the way,
Yeah.
they can, transform our lives.
And the lives of those around us.
That's what it's all about. Welcome back, everyone. We're diving right back into the book on virtue of knowledge from Al-Kafi.
Picking up where we left off, exploring what makes a true scholar, right?
Exactly. We touched on a few key traits already.
Humility, deep understanding of the Quran.
Actions matching words.
But H65, Chapter 5, Hadith 3 takes it a step further.
Okay.
It really describes the character of a true faqih.
Faqih. Now, for our listeners who might not be familiar.
Good point. You can think of it like a jurist, a scholar of Islamic law.
Gotcha.
Imam Jafar al-Sadiq tells us a true faqih doesn't lead people to despair or recklessness, doesn't permit disobedience to Allah, and is dedicated to the Quran.
Powerful description.
It is, isn't it?
It's not just about knowledge. It's how that knowledge is, embodied and used to guide others.
Couldn't agree more.
Makes me think of that saying, actions speak louder than words.
And that's exactly what H64, Chapter 5, Hadith 2 emphasizes.
Okay. What does it say?
Imam Jafar al-Sadiq connects it directly to verse 35.28 of the Quran.
Which states,
Only God's knowledgeable servants fear him.
right. And then,
He clarifies that true scholars, their deeds reflect their words.
so it's a call for, authenticity.
It is.
Walking the walk.
Not just talking the talk.
I guess that applies to all of us, not just scholars, right?
Absolutely. Our actions should reflect what we believe, what we've learned.
So we know what to look for in a true scholar. Now, how should we approach them? How do we actually, engage in this process of seeking knowledge?
Another great question.
What does Al-Kafi say?
Well, H70, Chapter 6, Hadith 1 from Imam Jafar al-Sadiq, again, gives us some guidance.
I'm all ears.
It talks about offering salutations, sitting respectfully before them, not bombarding them with, a million questions or arguments.
Be respectful, create that environment for learning.
Exactly.
But what about when we were genuinely curious?
Yeah.
Like Asking questions is how we learn, right?
Absolutely. Asking questions is essential.
Okay, good.
H82, Chapter 9, Hadith 1, Imam Muhammad al-Bakir actually calls asking the medicine for the illness due to ignorance.
I like that.
But there's a balance, you know.
Yeah.
Think of it like approaching a fruit-bearing tree, as the Hadith suggests.
Right.
We wouldn't violently shake it, demanding all the fruit at once.
Right.
We wait patiently.
Let the fruit ripen.
Exactly.
I love that analogy.
It's about having patience, reverence for the knowledge being shared.
But sometimes, I admit, I get impatient. I want to, like, devour knowledge as quickly as possible.
It's natural to feel that way.
Is that a bad thing?
Not necessarily that thirst for knowledge is beautiful.
Okay, go ahead.
H86, Chapter 9, Hadith 5, Imam Jafar al-Sadiq reminds us to make it a regular practice, a consistent part of our lives.
So it's about rhythm, a habit of seeking knowledge.
Exactly. He even specifically mentions setting aside time each Friday for religious learning.
Friday for religious learning.
It's fascinating, right?
It is. It makes me wonder, how can we apply that to other forms of knowledge? Should we have a day for, I don't know, secular learning too?
That's brilliant. It challenges us to look at our priorities.
It does.
We make time for work, family, hobbies.
Right.
But what about dedicated time for, like, expanding our minds, enriching our souls?
Whether it's science, history, art, anything that sparks our interest.
That consistent engagement with knowledge is what matters.
Like an investment in ourselves.
It is.
Nurturing that growth.
And this pursuit, it's lifelong. It doesn't end with school.
I love that idea.
It's about staying curious, you know? Staying engaged, always seeking to deepen our understanding.
Of ourselves and the world around us.
Speaking of deepening understanding,
Yes.
Let's talk about discussions.
Okay, ready. What do the Hadith say about that?
H87, Chapter 9, Hadith 6, Imam Jafar al-Sadiq paints a striking picture.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
He says discussions among scholars can bring life to dead hearts.
Wow, powerful imagery.
Isn't it? What do you think that means, practically speaking?
How can discussions bring hearts back to life?
It suggests that knowledge isn't meant to be, like, static, isolated.
Yeah.
It needs to be shared, debated, explored to truly flourish.
It's like a living thing.
It is.
And those discussions, they can take so many forms, right?
They can. A formal debate, a chat with friends, even an internal dialogue with ourselves.
The key is to engage with the ideas.
Challenge those assumptions.
Yeah.
Allow our understanding to evolve.
So it's not just absorbing information, it's wrestling with it, bouncing ideas off others, seeing different perspectives.
Exactly. H89, Chapter 9, Hadith 8. The Prophet Muhammad himself encourages us to discuss facts, meet each other, and speak to each other because speaking is brightness for the hearts.
I love that.
It's like polishing a mirror
Removing the dust.
so it can reflect light more clearly.
Discussions can really illuminate our understanding.
They can.
Help us see things more clearly.
Exactly. But the question is, why are we seeking this knowledge?
Yeah, the intention behind it.
H53, Chapter 3, Hadith 1, Imam Jafar al-Sadiq highlights the difference.
Okay, between?
Those who learn for the sake of Allah
Right.
versus those who seek knowledge for worldly gain or personal ego.
So if we're just trying to, I don't know, boost our status, impress others, get rich,
We're missing the point.
it's like climbing a mountain just for the view at the top.
And never stopping to enjoy the journey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if we seek knowledge for the sake of Allah,
Yeah.
to deepen our understanding of His creation, live a life of purpose,
Then the rewards are truly transformative.
they are. And H62, Chapter 4, Hadith 6, describes it perfectly.
What does it say?
Imam Muhammad al-Bakir says, those who acquire knowledge, practice it, and teach it for the sake of Allah.
Okay.
They will be called great personalities among the angels.
Now that's inspiring.
It is. True greatness isn't about worldly achievement.
It's about
It's about aligning our actions with divine purpose.
using our knowledge to serve Allah and benefit humanity.
And that service can take so many forms, right?
Absolute.
Teaching, writing, creating, even just living a life that reflects what we've learned.
It's about making a positive impact.
Leaving the world a better place.
Couldn't agree more.
Now, shifting gears a bit,
Okay.
let's talk about something that often gets overlooked.
What's that?
The etiquette of seeking knowledge.
Oh, etiquette.
Yeah, H82, Chapter 9, Hadith 1 tells this interesting story.
Okay.
Imam Muhammad al-Bakir talks about a man who died after a ritual bath.
Oh.
And the Imam says, they have killed him. Why did they not ask about it? The medicine for the illness due to ignorance certainly is to ask.
So asking is essential, but there's a right way and a wrong way to do it.
Like maybe they should have asked before the bath, not after.
Exactly. And that's where etiquette comes in.
So 870, chapter 6, Hadith 1.
It outlines some guidelines for approaching a scholar respectfully.
Don't overwhelm them with questions. Be mindful of their time.
Exactly, just like that fruit tree analogy.
Approach knowledge with reverence, patience, humility.
But why is this etiquette so important, you think?
Well, besides just being polite,
Right.
it creates that environment for learning.
Absolutely. If we're constantly interrupting, demanding, it creates barriers. And we have to remember, seeking knowledge is a privilege, not a right.
And those who share their knowledge with us,
They deserve our respect and gratitude.
it's like being invited into a sacred space
It is.
where knowledge is honored.
And we need to conduct ourselves accordingly.
Which brings us to another crucial aspect,
What's that?
listening.
Ah, yes. Simply listening.
You mean actually paying attention when someone is speaking? Revolutionary, I know.
You'd be surprised how often it's overlooked.
I bet.
But age 50, chapter 2, Hadith 7, Imam Muhammad al-Bakir tells us,
Yeah.
there is nothing good in life except for two kinds of people. A scholar who's obeyed and an audience who listens carefully.
Emphasizing both sides.
Exactly. The scholar needs to be worthy of being listened to.
And the listener needs to be receptive.
So what does attentive listening really mean?
Is it more than just hearing the words?
Absolutely. It's about engaging with the ideas,
Okay.
trying to understand their perspective, being open to new insights,
Hmm.
quieting that internal chatter so we can be present.
Clearing space in our minds to let new knowledge in.
Beautifully put.
And learning is a two-way street.
It is.
We can learn as much from asking the right questions as from listening to the answers.
It's all connected.
Seeking knowledge is so much more than just taking in information.
It is a complex process.
It involves intention, discernment, humility.
Respect, engagement,
It's a journey
a lifelong journey.
that requires constant effort, reflection, a willingness to grow.
Well said. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have, from the qualities of a true scholar to the etiquette of seeking knowledge,
It's like we've been given a roadmap,
for navigating this world of knowledge.
and there's still more to explore.
Oh.
Join us in part 3 as we delve into the rewards of seeking knowledge, the impact of a scholar's death, and the profound concept of giving knowledge as charity.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Al-Kafi's book on virtue of knowledge.
Right.
We've been talking about, the qualities of true scholars, the etiquette of seeking knowledge.
Aligning our intentions.
But what happens when that source of knowledge, that guiding light, is no longer with us?
It's a question that, comes up.
Yeah.
And the text addresses it with a sense of, sorrow, but also reverence.
Okay.
Age 72, chapter 7, Hadith 2, Imam Jafar al-Sadiq talks about the damage, the irreparable damage to the Islamic system when a scholar passes away.
It really makes you think about the impact
It does.
these individuals have, not just on, their communities,
Right.
but on the whole system of knowledge.
On faith.
Their absence leaves a void.
It does, a void that's not easily filled.
And the text, it doesn't shy away from the emotion of this loss. Age 73, chapter 7, Hadith 3, Imam Muhammad al-Bakir, he paints this picture of angels and even the earth itself
Wow.
weeping at the death of a true believer.
It's powerful.
It really is. It speaks to that interconnectedness of everything
It does.
and the ripple effect that a single life can have.
Especially a life dedicated to knowledge.
It makes me think about those we've lost, scholars in our own time.
It's a reminder to cherish those who hold knowledge, seek their guidance
Learn from them.
while we still can.
But even amidst that reflection on loss,
Right.
the text reminds us that knowledge itself,
Yeah,
it endures.
it does.
Age 59, chapter 4, Hadith 3, Imam Jafar al-Sadiq. He talks about the reward for teaching something good.
Right.
It extends beyond our lifetime,
Just like a spiritual investment.
It is.
A legacy that keeps growing.
impacting others even after we're gone.
That's a beautiful concept.
It is. It really speaks to that transformative power.
The power of knowledge.
So we've talked about seeking knowledge, the qualities of those who share it.
The impact they have.
But what about the act of sharing itself? What does Al-Kafi tell us about that?
That's where we get to one of the most, I think, profound concepts in this book. Knowledge as charity.
Okay.
Age 93, chapter 10, Hadith 3, Imam Jafar al-Sadiq says, Zakat, the tax on knowledge is teaching it to the servants of Allah.
Wow.
Right.
It elevates teaching to like a spiritual obligation.
It does.
It's not just a nice thing to do, it's a duty.
It challenges us to think about knowledge differently.
Not something to hoard,
Right.
but a gift to be shared.
But does that mean we just share it with anyone?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, H94, Chapter 10, Hadith 4 offers some guidance.
Okay.
Imam Jafar al-Sadiq shares the advice of Jesus to the Israelites.
Okay.
He says, "Do not speak the words of wisdom to the ignorant people, because you will be doing injustice to them." And then he adds, "Do not keep them from those who deserve, lest you will do injustice to them."
So there's discernment involved.
It's not just about broadcasting knowledge.
It's about sharing it wisely.
Appropriately, with those who are ready to receive it.
Knowledge is a powerful tool.
It is, like any tool, it can be misused.
We have a responsibility to use it ethically.
Thoughtfully.
For good.
It's not just what we know, it's how we share it, why we share it,
Who we share it with.
the intention behind it,
Recognizing that impact knowledge can have.
and using it to uplift, to illuminate, to guide others.
What an incredible journey this has been.
This has.
We've only scratched the surface of the book on virtue of knowledge.
I'd even so.
I feel like I'm already carrying this weight of wisdom.
It's amazing how these teachings, they resonate
They do.
across generations.
Offering guidance, inspiration.
Purpose?
And as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I'm left feeling a sense of responsibility, but also hope.
I agree.
Responsibility to keep seeking knowledge,
To share it wisely.
to live a life that reflects it.
And hope that, together, we can create a world where knowledge is cherished, shared.
Used to build a brighter future for everyone.
Beautifully said.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the book on virtue of knowledge from Al-Kafi.
May your own journey of knowledge be filled with joy, discovery, and those transformative insights.
Until next time.